You are listening to the Beaverton, North America's trusted source of news.
This week on the Beaverton, in their first White House meeting, Mark Carney calls Donald Trump a transformational president, like how diarrhea is transformational to a pair of pants. Friedrich Merz narrowly becomes German chancellor in a chaotic vote because Germany is definitely where you want democratic chaos. Anxious Americans seek out Canadians on dating apps by labeling themselves as DTF, down to Francophone. We're going to joke about the news while you half pay attention to your job and or kids. It's the Beaverton Weekly Report for May 7th, 2025. All right, everyone. Hey, welcome to the Beaverton. I'm Ian MacIntyre, once again filling in for Luke Gordon-Field, who is on a lovely vacation over in Europe and definitely looking at his phone at the Leafs game as we speak. I am joined by two of our regular all-star panelists. We have Clare Blackwood and Megan MacKay.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
I'm lukewarm on being here, honestly. Whatever. You know, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I just didn't. Whatever. It's fine. Hey, hey, get me out of here. Help, help. The plane. Ian, the plane's already crashing. What did I do?
Meg, please never change. Okay. This is the best. Also joining us this week, we have a special guest. This gentleman is a very old school Beaverton writer. He was there pretty much from the beginning, longer than I was, actually, I think.
Yeah, 2012.
2012, yeah, you got me beat by like a year. And he also is the mastermind behind The Goose, a very hilarious, satirical, environmentally focused website.
Yeah. Talk about climate change and related issues, and it just turns out that everything happens to be related to it. So it happens to work out all right.
That sounds convenient.
Yeah, very convenient.
Anyway, give it up for Aaron Hagey-MacKay.
Hooray! Oh, now we clap. Thank you. That's very kind.
We can introduce claps whenever we want. It's great.
I just put the Mortal Kombat theme on every time instead. It'll just get my gravy going.
Aaron giving away the secrets of the podcast. They've got a Mortal Kombat button over there that we'll maybe use later. Who knows? We'll find out.
This is the Chekhov's gun of Mortal Kombat sounds.
Yeah.
Introduced in the first act. We're going to leave that
I really
there.
thought you were going to keep going. Anyway, all right. Speaking of the first act, let's kick it off. Hey, everyone. Did you know that Mark Carney was at the White House today?
Wow.
In fact, I did.
Yeah, Mark Carney, our new prime minister, for a little over a week, immediately regretted the fact that he won the election by having to go and sit and talk to Donald Trump on camera in front of a bunch of people for what felt like a million years.
Yep.
While he just actively disassociated and wanted to be anywhere else. What did you all think of Mark Carney's meeting with Donald Trump today?
I mean, I gotta say, you know it's gonna be good when Donald Trump spends the first minute talking about the pictures in the Oval Office. I was like, here we go, man. This is not going to be normal. It's never normal. Let's talk about the motherfucking pictures.
I did like that he pointed out how gold it was.
Yes.
That was good.
Because it was hard to notice, right?
It was really subtle. I didn't see any gold, and then he was like, gold, and I was like, whoa, it's everywhere.
It's there, yeah.
And he made a point to say, I added this gold. It didn't used to be this gaudy. It didn't used to be this tacky, but I did that.
Yep.
That's what I did.
I know you'd think Chester A. Arthur did it. No, it was me.
Yeah.
I do. I liked how Carney basically just used his secret Canadian weapon of being a normal human being, and Trump just didn't know what to do with it, and so he kind of, like how people go into fight, flight, or fawn mode, and he just clearly just went straight to fawn. Mm-hmm. Everything was just several minutes of I respect this man. Mm-hmm. He called him the prime minister as opposed to Governor Justin. I respect him. You did such a great job winning your election, maybe even more than me. All that kind of, he just kept doing it. It was so clear that he was very intimidated, and he just kind of sunk lower and lower and lower into the ground.
Well, in fairness, I think part of it is that Mark Carney is just so businessman shaped that Trump instantly starts to defer. And he's kind of I think he's my dad. I think I have to defer to him.
There is kind of he's well respected on Wall Street, right? He's one of those people that people in New York really like this guy. I want to be liked by people in New York. So therefore, I have to have this sort of level of respect for him. And it does show just how personal the whole thing is when he brought up she who shall not be named, Chrystia Freeland. Poor Chrystia.
Oh, he was not pulling a Voldemort. He fully forgot her name.
He fully forgot her.
There's no chance he remembered that name.
That's so sad.
Maybe. But yeah, he definitely, had to go on and on about these economic terms, and the guy who has like a PhD in all of this and could like write this policy backwards and forwards in his sleep just has to sit there and listen to him not understand a trade deficit, and it was brutal.
There were multiple moments where Mark Carney had a big smile plastered on, and then it slowly just sort of shrunk down to like neutral. How long is this guy going to talk about stuff I already know about?
And then right before it ended, he was going to be like, I would like to, and he's like, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to add a nuanced point of fact. Nope.
I think Mark Carney maybe spoke for 30 whole seconds out of the entire half-hour thing.
Yeah.
It was unreal. One of the things Trump said about him, Canada chose a very talented person, a good person. You ran a really great race. I watched the debate. There is no way he watched that debate.
God, no.
No.
He watched the
Absolutely
French
not.
debate and the English debate. He loved every second of it.
Well, that's where the French debate, that's where the foreign language movie tariffs came in.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
I do. I love, I think Carney played it very well, and I love the compliment sandwich that he gave him around the whole Canada 51st state kind of thing, where he's just like, yes, Mr. Trump, you're so great, Mr. Trump. We will never be the fucking 51st state, but you're also so great, and we love the fact that you've done this. And so Trump didn't really have a chance to kind of really dig into that.
He had that little, like, in real estate, us real estate businessmen guys.
Yeah, right?
We know that sometimes things don't get sold or go out in the market. So, like the White House won't get sold, like Buckingham Palace won't get sold. But anyway, you're a piece of shit. So what I was saying was...
Good job revitalizing, and then he ended it with the president has revitalized international security in NATO, which is such a fuck you. Like, it was so couched, like an insult couched in fancy language, basically being like, you've made everyone else in the world re-examine their armies and their feelings towards you diplomatically.
We are all protecting ourselves from you actively right now. Congrats.
Yeah, and Trump absolutely took that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's the gross weird stalker who's stalking his ex, and she's like, well, you've made me reconsider getting a gun, is basically that. You've revitalized my interest in weaponry.
Well, speaking of like taking it as a compliment, one of the things Carney said was that Trump was a very transformational president, which is the most carefully chosen word he could have possibly used. Trump clearly took that as a good thing. What are some other things that could be transformational? Like maybe a hurricane? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The bubonic plague transformed Europe.
Certainly did. I have to take your word for it because I'm not a fan of history. I don't know what happened just like yesterday.
Spoiler,
Spoiler. I don't know. Yeah. Just a fire, brimstone. I don't know. You got me on that one.
Fire transforms things.
Yeah, that's the most transformative element, one might say, other than like a brisk wind, I suppose. If in a light, in a room full of paper, maybe, or I guess fire could also burn the paper.
You know what it doesn't burn is gold.
Hey!
Gold that's all over that stupid room.
That's true. Room used to be white, now room gold. Transformational.
Knowing that guy, he's probably just thinking of the robots in disguise. He's just such a child.
Yeah, and I liked how he did this like pre-interview thing about Carney, and he's like, we don't need their cars, we don't need their energy, we don't need their lumber, we don't need anything they have other than their friendship. And I'm like, with friends like those, who needs enemies? That is the epitome of that. It's like I'm gonna steal your home, steal your money, try to sleep with your wife, besties for life. Am I right? Like, what?
I mean, bit clingy in it. Like, come on, you want none of my stuff, but you want all of my attention. Like, why don't you take a little bit of my stuff and we'll do a little trade
Well, that's the
deal.
other thing. With Carney just not saying anything and not giving anything away, Trump's working harder for it.
It does kind of feel like maybe the real tariff was the friends we made along the way.
Oh boy.
I mean, it might as well be because he makes them up every day.
Yeah.
So it probably is the thing he made. One thing I noticed about it was J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio were sitting off to the side the whole time, grinning and occasionally laughing at Trump's jokes. I realized today that what Trump wants more than anything is his own podcast. That was the setup he had in there. He wants a podcast where he is simultaneously the host and the guest. And that he's the only one that talks, and he's got his little zoo crew of buddies who just agree with everything that he says.
I've wanted this. I've said this forever. It's just you need to just tell him he's the president. Put him in a room with his Twitter, and just be like, "Go off, sir. You're the president now." And then get some actors to play his advisors, and then we can actually have a real president, and he'll have a great time.
It's a little like those Star Trek episodes where there's like a hologram that just goes awry and they like trap it in a little simulation of itself. Yeah. That's what we got to do with him. It just sort of sits there and talks in a room forever. And while Bebop and Rocksteady over there just go, good one, boss.
Okay, which one's Rubio and which one's Vance? I'm honestly curious.
I don't know. I guess Vance is Bebop. I don't know. I have to figure it out. I have to Google it. I don't know off the top of my head.
That tracks. Marco Rubio seems like he could take Vance in a fight. I always thought of Rocksteady as the tougher one. He was the rhinoceros.
Yes, yeah.
Fair enough.
Vance can't fight.
No.
No, Vance can't fight. Yeah, I fully agree with you. That man would get blown over by that transformational stiff breeze.
Yeah. From earlier, I remember. I think he could.
Go back.
Sorry, Claire. I think he could. I do think he could start a fight at like a bar, but he'd be that guy who immediately backs off and is like, "I don't want any trouble. I'm sorry." But he would be cruising for it, and then as soon as it got real, he'd hide.
Oh, JD Vance has big get my buddies into a bar fight energy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yes.
Yeah. One thing that Mark Carney did actually get in there was he repeatedly said, we are not becoming the 51st state in as many polite, boring ways as he possibly could. That actually seemed to work kind of on Trump. I think he jujitsu'd him into realizing that this is not going to happen.
I mean, I think Trump's still going to talk about it and try, but I think it is that kind of like dad thing that he's got going on where Trump just genuinely doesn't know how to react to this very serious banker man who reminds him of his dad. Like, he's just, you can't go to your friend's house tonight. You can't do it. It's never going to happen. And he's like, oh, I guess not. Oh, no. And then, Carney's going to leave and then he's going to get back on his little True Social and talk about the 51st state. I just think he seemed very intimidated.
My dad said I can't have a 51st state. Well, suck it, Dad. Post. That's the attitude, right?
Yes,
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
He does seem to be just fixated on the aesthetics of it, though. Like the whole, you take away that line, it's a beautiful thing. I know there's, supposed to be some, strategic reason behind this, and I'm sure that's just the adults in the room being like, we should take them over. But he was just sold on the idea, look how big it is. And that's all he really needs is just it big, I like.
It's a beautiful marriage. I think that's what he called it. It would be a beautiful
and
marriage.
who knows marriage better than Donald Trump?
Yes.
Well versed, multiple even. Yeah, he really explored the topic a couple times, didn't he? Yeah.
We're going to be slapping that hand away.
Ugh.
Taking him a lot.
Speaking of slapping the hand away, Trump also alluded to, he said this was a very friendly conversation, not like a blow-up that we had with somebody else. Which is either a veiled nod to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, or it could be Trump forgetting a name immediately the second that a man leaves the room. How do you think this didn't go like the Zelensky meeting? How is this different, do you all think?
I think Trump, back to the intimidation thing, I think he was very aware that Zelensky needs him. He needs his support, he needs his money, and thus, in his mind, he can be the bully and Zelensky is the little kid on the playground.
Sure.
Carney's not that. I think that's exactly, I think just the tone, it was a major tone shift. I think that's all it was.
No, absolutely.
It's like a bully realizing that he can either pick on somebody or not pick on someone.
I think Putin just wants him to not like Zelensky, and so he's just like, he called you fat, and that's all it really was. Maybe that's all it was, petty. I have to assume everything is just petty with this guy, but I think to Claire's point, there is a status thing. I think that kind of just plays with it, but that's the assumption I have to make.
It really is. I was joking around earlier that it feels like Carney used a weaponized boringness. That he just understands how to draw a distinction between Trump by being a serious guy in the room and not trying to cause drama or call attention to himself. And he's like, yeah, I'll happily let you talk for 20 minutes straight about nothing because by comparison, I look so much more credible.
Yeah, he's just a very normal person.
Yeah, it's...
I was going to say weaponized boringness is all over the place. I mean, it's every time you agree to terms and conditions, I'm not doing this, and then they take your soul. So he's just a walking, talking terms and conditions sheet.
Yeah, we all just voted for him last week. We were like, I'm not reading this platform.
I don't know. He's not poly. Absolutely.
I mean, not to be totally take it to a shallow place, but would you say that there's something to Trump reacting poorly to like a man who's like a little bit hunky, like a little bit of a cutie pie. Because Mark Carney, like he looks like my sweet little business marionette, and I like that. But like there is a hunky element to Zelensky and to Trudeau, who he notoriously did not like.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there is a little bit of judgment based on the hunk factor.
He does look like a haunted doll.
He does
look like a little man that you can put on your.
He's my sweet little business marionette.
Oh
He's
my
gonna
God.
I'm going to carry him around. He's going to tell me what a stock is and how to put money into it. I like it. And then take the money out someday, I guess. That's what people seem to do. So
I mean, he's no dummy. He's no dummy. He's very smart, so I will give him that.
He's a very smart haunted marionette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most sinister ones, I think.
Yeah.
Back to rating the international super hunks.
Yeah. I'm locked in.
No. I'm so glad you brought us here. I think there is something to that. I think Zelensky in that like cool sweater, he's like, I have to rip down the sweater. I have to make fun of the sweater because he looks so much better than me. And Trudeau just being a handsome, well-liked guy at a time when Trump was a pariah in the international community.
Yeah.
Glad that got fixed. But I think there really is something to that.
Yep.
Deeply insecure.
I think we figured it out. We figured out he's an insecure man.
Guys, this has never been stated before.
Yep.
We're breaking barriers here on the Beaverton Weekly Report. Thank you for coming here to get all your news. I hope you're not listening to anybody else.
We're just giving him therapy, like, in absentia.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of more Trump and things that have to do with Canada, Trump earlier this week sweepingly announced 100% tariffs on foreign films. He tweeted this out of the blue. People are speculating after a screening of Escape from Alcatraz that was on like TCM one afternoon. He was like, we're reopening Alcatraz and we're tariffing all the movies.
What's this, Fellini? Get this out of here.
So that actually brings me to my question. It was so unclear what he was talking about. Is he talking about Hollywood movies that shoot in Canada,
Yes.
i.e. 90% of our industry?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that it's just he gets mad that people are leaving the States, making their movies elsewhere, and bringing it back to the States. And so he just wants movies just made in the States, but only stuff from the States.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Thus decimating the Canadian movie industry.
one of the things that I learned more recently was that there's this town called Almont, Ontario, and it is where they shoot 1,000 holiday specials. They are
The Hallmark movies, right?
Every single one of those
Yeah,
Hallmark
yeah.
movies is in Almont, Ontario, and it's like, good luck trying to find a place that isn't like a suburban hellscape or just like a ghost town. Like they're gonna be shooting in like Florida, and it's gonna be like some big time lawyer girl moving back home, and she has a little meet cute with a meth gator. And first she thinks the meth gator is an asshole, but now as she realizes that behind that toothless smile lies a heart of gold and meth. I don't know.
I was reading about this today, and somebody was poking holes, and I mean, obviously you can poke holes in all of Trump's tariff arguments, and he's going to forget about this tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
But somebody was like, this is pretty much physically impossible because most films are digital. So like, tariffs are on physical goods. Films aren't physical goods. You can't tariff that, and if you'd have to like completely change the laws to do that in a way that I just don't think he's willing to do.
Maybe he'll start tariffing the actors. So like when William H. Macy goes up to Vancouver to shoot a movie and comes back, he's like, all right, William H. Macy, I'm tariffing you.
Yeah.
I was going to say he's tariffing the subtitles, like 5 cents a word. That's how he's going to get out. It's possible. I mean, I don't know, but that's a good question. Where do you extract the tariff from? Like, do you ticket prices? Doesn't really make sense. Streaming acquisition costs, like, again, maybe, but do you make the best boys pay for it? If they're the best, like, time to pony up. Like, I don't even know. I have no idea. It's very complicated, but easy to tweet. I'll say that.
Yes.
Very, very easy to tweet, yes.
Yep.
From now on, it's only going to be AI movies.
Oh.
Great. Love it. I love with so many fingers.
I
It's my favorite part of every movie.
More fingers, finally.
I do. Okay, so I took the time to write a little pitch because I was thinking, like, yeah, we're going to lose all the Hallmark movies, like that are all set in the States. And I was like, okay, I have a pitch for anybody out there listening to this podcast with obscene amounts of money, because I know that that's what you would do.
We have a very wealthy listenership.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I assumed so. That's why we have a Patreon. and so I was like, I want to pitch a Canadian Hallmark movie, and it's about a big city lawyer from Toronto who goes home to PEI to save her family's struggling lobster farm. And so not only do the lobsters teach her about life and living and laughing and loving, but she also falls in love with an Anne of Green Gables reenactor. And I'm calling it A Very Crustacean Christmas.
Oh my God. I would watch that at least 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah. At least once for each of them and then once for all the lobsters.
Yeah. Hit me up, investors.
Can we add a jealous potato?
Sure. Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
With eyes, it can be like an animated pet. Or just a potato that sits on the windowsill and judges her.
And they can drink all of their eggnog out of those weird glass bottles that PEI has because they don't have aluminum cans. I've run out of things I know about PEI. I'm sorry.
We're running away on the singing sands. I don't know.
No, I think this sounds fantastic. I definitely think we need more Canadian Hallmark movies. They've been Canadian this whole time secretly.
Yep.
100%.
I do love that in America where they're like, oh, we need to shoot a movie where someone goes to a quaint little small town. We need to go to a foreign country because we don't have those anymore.
Okay, but it's okay between those juicy TCs, the tax credits, and the dollar being like they can shoot 10 movies for the price of one up here. They're like, here's, I don't know, the purple money, take it, whatever. It's just so much cheaper that I don't think the entertainment industry is going to be super happy about paying a tariff.
Probably not.
Is there maybe a silver lining that maybe Canadians start making their own films again?
With what money?
Like our iPhones and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That does bring me to the other question, though, because his tweet was so poorly worded and so vague that I was like, is he mad about foreign movies that are getting shown in the States? Like, is he mad about Parasite? Does he think Men with Brooms is a national security threat?
I mean, hey there, bud.
Don't make fun of our army.
We're fucking deadly with the brooms, eh?
Just to check.
He's going to be worried about those.
Is Men with Brooms still a viable reference?
No.
That was a real movie.
No.
I think that was
it's not.
2003, though.
That's pretty old, right?
I mean, yeah, it's 20 years-ish.
I was going to say Bon Cop, Bad Cop, and then I saw that our producer Andrew tweeted a joke about it, and I was like, I have to come up with another reference for a famous Canadian movie. And I had to go back to 2003's Men with Brooms to get it.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well, huh?
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2? I got
13
nothing.
or Ginger Snaps or something like that, the werewolf one.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Cube? Anyone like Cube? That's even longer, though. That's even
Cube
older.
Canadian?
Yeah.
Cube is Canadian.
Oh.
Vincenzo Natali, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It's a good time.
Get it, Cube. 4 Dimensions, love that. I've seen it, so I know I got a reference, don't worry.
All right. Looking at things out west, thought we might talk a bit about Western separatism today. That's words I hear in the news. That's things people are talking about. An Angus Reid poll that was conducted right before the election said 25 to 30% of Albertans and Saskatchewanians, that they supported leaving Canada if the Liberals won. I imagine that it takes a while to pull up stakes, which is why they're still here. But I'm sure it's in the works. In all seriousness, what do you guys think is driving this Western alienation? What do you think is causing this?
Can I jump in on this one?
Yes. Also, I should point out, us 4 Toronto-based comedians are definitely the ones to discuss Western alienation.
Yeah,
Go.
we're going to fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, first, yeah, sure. We're all here in Toronto. It's pretty easy for me to be like, well, I think it's Albertans. But, like, this is fully an AstroTurf campaign from the oil industry that owns, like, basically most of the province, but by having 20% of the entire GDP of that province going from their oil sands operations and oil and gas operations. There was a higher percentage of people supporting exiting in 2019. This is lower than it was in 2019.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is only happening because they're just like, well, we want to sell more to the United States. There might be some like taxes on industrial carbon pollution and that sort of thing. So guess who starts it off is just Preston Manning is just going to vomit on the pages of the Globe and Mail and be like, well, we should separate. It's like, you don't have the votes. You have 30% maybe. And it just so happens that his right-wing think tank happens to be sponsored by the Koch brothers and ExxonMobil. What a coincidence.
One of those Koch brothers dead, but still running the think tank from beyond the grave.
From beyond the grave.
Yep.
No, but I think that that's absolutely an enormous part of it and can't be overlooked.
I mean, I don't really have direct evidence. I should say that, but it's like, there's sort of a guilt by association thing, and there's like just if you see what Danielle Smith is doing, there's kind of like a plausible deniability to everything that they do, but it's like so transparent.
Yeah, and there's just this such like about the our preferred candidate didn't win, so we want to leave. It's such a kindergarten mentality. It's so like, I'm going to take my toy and I'm going to go home. And it's like, grow up. I'm sorry, we don't always get the leaders that we want. Like, yes, if Pierre had gotten in, that would have sucked. I would have been sad. You still have to work within the confines of the country. Like, you can't just leave whenever you don't get your way.
Well,
it does feel like a small sort of microcosm of the Trump social loop, right? Where he says something a little bit insane and everyone is like, that's a normal thing to say. And instead of him feeling like, oh, I feel so hurt, he says something even crazier, right? I think the federal government and other Canadians do a lot of acquiescing to the West, honestly. And I think that's kind of driving this alienation even further, which is totally paradoxical. It doesn't make sense, but it seems to be having that effect.
I will say, as someone who grew up in not Toronto, it's a weird feedback loop because out in Nova Scotia, we hate Ontario. We don't actually hate Ontario, but we also think Ontario gets everything and it thinks they're the center of the universe. That's what we think of all of you.
Hell yeah. Think it harder.
And that's how
I mean, to be fair, we don't think about you at all.
There you go. Oh no, burn. No.
Don Draper.
But it becomes that tough thing for anyone trying to sell this narrative out there is the center of Canada thinks you guys are wrong for this, therefore it's proof that you're right. And it's a very convenient way to play the regions off of one another.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right that so many people, just if you were outside of Quebec and Ontario, it's like you have more in common with the people in the United States that you see more regularly than you do with it. You're not going to go to Ottawa if you're in northern BC. You're not going to go to like Quebec or whatever if you're in northern Alberta. I get that. And I do think that there is a anti-democratic impulse by being like, we don't accept the election. Being like, in order to have a democracy, you have to accept that elections, you have to roll with them. You can't just reject them. So it's a dangerous game that they're playing, and I don't think it's just for leverage. I think it's serious.
Really?
I think it's absolutely serious.
Because I was like, with the numbers being so low, like 25-30% tops. Like
conservatives look at polls. Like, okay, liberals look at polls and they're just like, oh no, we're unpopular. Conservatives look at polls and be like, how do we make them go where we want them?
And fair.
What shit do we have to lie about to make them go where we want them?
And it is a lot easier when you don't care about telling the truth.
Oh, certainly.
I mean, it's. I was researching the national energy program that they had, I think, in the 80s.
Yeah, Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Yeah. And it seems like it was misunderstood from what I can tell, and then they just kind of never got over it. And I have a friend of mine, shout out Steve Boots, is from that kind of area, and he's like, you don't understand how ingrained this stuff is from the moment that you're a kid. He was talking about how he had like oil and gas pogs that he played with growing up.
Sure.
That is just drilled into your brain, literally, pun intended.
Remember oil? It's back in pog form.
Drill, I like that. That was a good one.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, and that's absolutely true. Like for a province where your government is almost always conservative, almost always getting further into bed with the oil and gas lobby, and letting them provide so much more funding for cultural events, funding for social things like that. I am sympathetic to the notion of being told you or probably your neighbors work in the oil industry and someone wants to take your livelihood away. And I haven't heard a super compelling argument for what we're going to replace it with. I know there are arguments, and I know that's a thing that could be worked out. I am sympathetic to the notion of not feeling like you're being heard by the center of the country.
I am absolutely pro-oil worker. I do not want these people to go like lose a job
I was positive
overnight.
You were, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Lose a job overnight or whatever, and that's unfortunately kind of what's happening with the oil and gas industry in Alberta right now. It's called de-manning. They're basically teaching ChatGPT how to frack.
God damn it.
Yeah, and it's basically it's going to end a lot of people's livelihoods, and they're still going to drill baby drill as much as they possibly can. So like we have to figure out what to do with this class of workers, and the clean energy economy is a good place to start, and we don't have like a full plan for like, you know, you can
an infrastructure for it.
Yeah, like you can for geothermal energy, it is the same process. You drill a big hole. It is the same process.
Do we have guys who know how to do that?
Yes, we do.
What?
You have Doug Ford with his tiny ass shovel.
Okay, tiny shovel, big man, tiny shovel.
Big
That's
man,
it.
tiny shovel. He rides again. He's gonna get us geothermal energy, guys.
But then there's this whole aggrieved entitlement thing that happens out there that is just like, buddy, Trudeau bought you a pipeline.
Yeah.
He bought you like a $40 billion pipeline.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, well, it's
It's not enough. We want more.
look, that's a whole thing that we need to discuss. And, you know, I will make a lot of content on pipelines moving forward. But, like, there is some attempt from the Liberal government. You have to admit, they gave a lot of taxpayer money to the oil industry.
Oh, yeah.
And so that doesn't win votes from people like me, and it also doesn't win votes from people like them.
Not even a little. Well, that's because you've got politicians like Danielle Smith out there who make Ottawa just their all-purpose enemy to distract from what they're actually
The
doing.
scandals. All of the scandals.
So many scandals.
Danielle, we're on to you, Danielle.
What?
I know you're
Healthcare
listening,
contracts.
Danielle.
These healthcare contracts, what am I doing?
Whoa, crazy.
What is this? What?
Speaking of Danielle Smith, she proposed legislation to make it even easier for citizens in Alberta to call for a vote to secede from Canada. It used to be 20% of, I guess, the voting population or whatever it is. Now it's 10%. And she's like, but I got nothing to do with it, man. I don't like separatism. I just want to make it super easy to call a dumb referendum.
As far as I know, there's nothing going on. We're not talking about anything. It's just out of the blue, just doing this.
Trust me, bro. Trust me.
So why don't people just vote to separate from Danielle Smith first? I don't know.
She's so bad. She's so bad at her job.
I mean, she's bad at her job as her job actually is.
Yes.
She sees her job as getting on Fox News as much as possible.
Yeah.
And getting paid to go down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah,
So
well, I
think
think,
she's
like-
pretty good at her job.
I felt that way. I was like, within a couple weeks, she's going to be on Fox News telling Fox News, like Jesse Waters, that Carney is the symbol of the Antichrist being reborn. Like,
Despite
She's
J.D.
getting
Vance
there.
literally killing the Pope.
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just let's blue sky this for a second here, though. If Alberta, and I guess Saskatchewan, I always forget that they're in this too. Alberta, Saskatchewan, imagine they did secede. What does this country look like? How does this function?
I mean, it's interesting because they have all the oil, but they can't move it anywhere without Canadian cooperation. The pipeline is bought by Canada, so it's interesting to see, to try and understand what that looks like as an Albertan who wants to secede. Because, I mean, okay, you guys could become the 51st state and then run it through American pipelines, but I mean, there's some infrastructure that needs to be built there.
Do you think that's what they want, though? Do they want to be like North Wisconsin or whatever it is?
North Texas, yeah.
I don't know if it's what they want, but I genuinely have no idea how the oil industry will function if Alberta and Saskatchewan are an independent nation surrounded by other nations that they need a cooperative deal with to move the oil around.
I feel like
sure.
they want
Yeah.
to be the 51st state the way, like, I envision wanting to be obscenely famous, like, as an actor, you know what I mean? I want to do it first and foremost, despite the people who doubted me, before realizing that it's actually an awful, awful thing to be.
Right.
Yes.
That comes after I've spit in the face of people who are like, you can't do it. And, you know.
That part feels pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what would happen with them.
I don't have a joke for this, but like in all seriousness, all of the pipelines that we have go through the United States. So like any of the ones that connect back into Canada again, they have to go through the United States first. So and the majority of the oil that we already sell, Canada that is, it's like 98% of it goes to the United States. So it's not like it really has to go too far. They don't have to build too much in order to just feed it directly to them. And it's already like 4 million barrels a day. So they want to keep that flowing.
I suppose that makes sense.
And they also they can't do it in terms of like, you know, the indigenous peoples of Alberta have been like, you can't just sell our land you can't give it away. They made treaties with the crown, not Alberta. Alberta didn't even exist at that point. Like, I genuinely realize that Danielle Smith is kind of like Trump light in the sense that I'm just like, is she going to care about those rules? We don't know. But those are rules. They're treaties and they're laws. And she's just kind of going, nah, it's fine.
I do like the cease and desist from the Cree Nations being
Yes.
like, if you do not like being a citizen, you are free to apply for citizenship elsewhere. And it's like, damn, mic drop.
That's
Yep.
pretty good. And if there's one thing we love in Canada, it's honoring our treaties with the First Nations.
Yes.
We're very good about it all the time.
And now I'm sad.
Not to catastrophize, not to totally blow
No,
this
do
out
it.
of. Okay.
You, Aaron,
Catastrophize.
never.
Well, okay, look, there are people, Canadians, like Canadian conservative influencers being like, well, we just buddy up with Trump and then like they have the oil and if we try to fight back, then they blow us up.
Cool.
All seriousness being like, what are you going to do against the U.S. military? And it's just like, wow, I never thought the U.S. military would destabilize a democratic government for oil.
Oh, we get to be Iraq this time.
Yeah, we're Iraq 2, 3, I guess, whatever it is. There's gonna be a whole like liberate Alberta movement after like the referendum gets called or whatever. Yeah, Jesse Waters or whatever is gonna like promulgate that shit, and we are going to be faced in a year from now with that being on people's bumper stickers and.
Tucker Carlson is going to do remote things from there, being like, they have grocery stores here and
Still
everything.
alive.
Yo,
Damn it.
for real though, can I do a weird?
I mean, he's broadcasting on X, so is he alive?
No, his soul died a long time ago.
Can I just completely torpedo this and talk about Tucker Carlson for like one hot second?
We're so sorry, listeners, to put you through this.
The other day, Tucker Carlson had a woman from the Bush White House on. This is the Bush, H.W. Bush. She claims that the United States built underground cities, 170 underground cities, spending $21 trillion for the world's elite to just bunker down in if shit hits the fan.
Is she describing the movie Us by Jordan Peele?
That's maybe
No,
where she
I
got
don't
it.
think there are black people in her vision.
No, you're right. Okay, that was my mistake.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's all I wanted to say. I just
Yeah.
thought it was hilarious.
This has been our Tucker Carlson Minute. All right.
Part of
Oh,
our
I like the
heritage.
idea of having a Tucker Carlson minute.
I hate it.
No, I hate it too, but we can make it increasingly more insane.
That is true. He'll give us lots of content.
Yeah.
Speaking of content, thank you very much for listening, listeners. We know you're out there listening to this right now. If you're enjoying what you're listening to, please give us a review, maybe on your podcast app of choice. You could leave a review, 5 stars, please. You could tell a friend about our podcast. You could post on social media or maybe share some of our video clips. If you'd like to help monetarily, we like money. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/thebeaverton. I don't know, Google it. That's what I always do. For as little as $4 a month, you could get extended episodes of this podcast. You could get discounts on merch. You could get free merch, maybe, I think. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. There's exclusive articles. We do polls and quizzes maybe to find out about what you want us to talk about here on the Beaverton Weekly Report. Please program our show for us. Thank you very much, patrons, and thank you all just for listening. If you're here for free, we're just happy you're here. All right. Well, with all of that business out of the way, it is now time for the approximately 10-minute long quiz.
It's the approximately 10-minute long quiz. Brought to you by Time.
All right, this is the approximately 10-minute long quiz, a thing where I ask questions and you answer them. I don't know, it's a quiz. You've all had a quiz before. Getting us started here. First question we got. The Rock the Country Music Festival is currently touring the United States, going all through the summer. It features patriotic acts such as Kid Rock, Lynyrd Skynyrd, and what surprising band?
Bill Clinton on solo sax.
Do I have to like buzz in? What do we?
We'll go one at a time.
Lady Smith Black Mambazo? I don't know, man.
She said yes. It's a lineup. It's like a rotating group of music's finest sex pests.
It's like Russell Brand and Bill Cosby?
And they're all just gonna. It's a jam band.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it took me a while to hear the title of it.
Yeah,
and
she said yeah.
That bums me out.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
You're
That's
so
a
welcome.
thinker.
That's too clever for me, and now I have to go reflect. The surprising band headlining this patriotic American music festival is Nickelback.
Oh!
Alberta's own Nickelback is
Look
down
at
there.
that photograph.
Not only that,
Every time I do it makes me sad.
never again. They're actually from Pierre Poilievre's new writing.
Really?
Seriously?
I think so. That's a Googleable fact. I'm just going to say it and hope it's true.
Oh my God, maybe we'll play his inauguration.
Yeah, for real, though. They might.
I'd be so Oh, man.
Anyway.
Avril, you made a mistake, and she realized it.
It's not the real Avril anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Double that they...
Yeah, it's not her.
What?
It's definitely not her. You haven't heard this conspiracy theory?
It's a podcast. We need at least one conspiracy per episode.
Correct.
No, we have two, apparently.
Conspiracy from Big Avril.
Yes.
What is the doubling? What?
Oh,
I've
she's
never
just
heard
not
this.
real. Like, she was replaced in 2007.
Is it that far back?
No, I'm making this up.
Okay.
I've never heard of this.
But people are saying that it's not been the same Avril for several years touring, that they subbed it out.
It's like a
with-
Melania thing.
Yes, like a Melania thing,
Right.
exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Or like John from the Beatles or whatever it was. I can't remember.
You know what? That's not entirely. I think I saw a TikTok or something like that from a woman who was paid to basically be Miley Cyrus's double when Miley Cyrus was not available.
Huh. So, like, would she sing or just, like, show up in photographs?
I think she would show up at like events and photos, yeah, and stuff like that.
I mean, MF Doom used to do it, like, for real. Like, just be like, I'm not going to this show. You go. Put on the mask.
He had a mask. That's easier.
Yeah.
That's like if Stig from Top Gear was like, I'm not going to this thing. Put on the helmet.
That's not the real Stig.
Literally, like, anyone who's here in the room, just put the helmet on. You're fine.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question in the quiz. The Canadian military has issued a serious warning to staff at its Carling Avenue headquarters in Ottawa. What are staff being warned about?
Warning, you are in the Canadian military. Were you aware you were in the military? Did you accidentally sign up for the military? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, no, that's a fair warning.
I'd be scared. So.
Don't get on a Sea King helicopter. It will fall out of the sky.
Yeah, that was my answer. Basically, just like, this is a load-bearing sign.
I think
Do not remove.
This wall might fall down.
Yeah.
I think the staff are being warned about Pierre Poilievre trying to find a new place to live, and it's probably in the walls.
He has to get out of Stornoway.
Yeah, he does, at least for a couple days.
Yeah, while that election thing gets sorted out.
Yeah.
No, the thing the staff are being warned about, geese. Apparently Canadian geese
Yeah!
are swarming
That
the
is the most
grounds.
Canadian thing. Oh, jeez.
Our military is being overrun at home, at their headquarters.
I can't
by
believe it.
Geese.
I can't believe our military is being overrun by our Air Force.
Oh, excellent.
All right. Last question going here. Hubbub online this week. So much hubbub as Donald Trump shared an AI-generated image of himself in robes, dressed as what famous spiritual figure?
The Baba Yaga. The Baba Yaga.
I forgot. I respect your religious beliefs, Meg. You're in a largely Baba Yaga-focused religion.
I go in the woods and I find a house with little chicken feet on it and I do a little dance. That's my religion.
Love that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said what's that? I was
No,
like,
no, I love that.
I
Yeah.
love. Thank you.
I love that for you as well.
Yeah. I know the answer, so I'm just gonna say Buddha.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner.
That is Trump's spiritual figure.
That's his spiritual figure.
Sure.
That's his
And he
Buddha.
Sure.
wore a lot of
yeah.
robes.
All right, Claire, just so someone gets a point, what's the real answer?
He's the Pope.
Not the one I was thinking of.
What?
Okay, that is a correct answer. You are correct about that.
Are you talking the
question
Star
is-
Wars? The
The
Sith?
Star Wars
or-
thing. He was dressed as a Jedi.
Oh,
is what I was
okay.
getting at. A spiritual figure in robes.
Well, hold on. You're telling on yourself a little bit. That there was both a Jedi Trump and a Pope
Yeah.
Trump floating around the internet. And you're like, spiritual figure, people are going to go Jedi first.
Yeah.
Okay, I was raised Catholic, but I'm an ex-Catholic.
Your very Catholic
And
grandmother
still
is
a
going to be
big
so
nerd.
angry.
Yes, she will be. Yes, I'm technically going to give that to you because, yes, you were correct.
Thank you.
So Claire does get our first point on the board. We got a couple more fill-in-the-blank headline ones here. A 27-year-old Chinese student was rescued from Mount Fuji for the second time in 1 week after he went back to rescue blank.
He went back to rescue himself from the past.
I'm just going to guess one of those, like, anime pillows.
Like a waifu pillow?
Yeah, like a waifu pillow.
Why do I know the name of that?
Because you have
You're a
one.
nerd.
I guess
no,
yeah, the Star Wars question. No, you're right. This
You've
tracks.
been to Fan
Carry on.
Expo.
Yeah.
We've been to Fan Expo together.
We have been together, yes. No, you're right.
I mean, 27, probably like a freaking like TikTok dance or something. Probably like a gibbets, like a freaking croc gibbets, or like a freaking Stanley Cup, dude. Kids these days
Kids, these
they don't know the
27-year-old
value of
kids.
hard work. Climbing Mount Fuji with your freaking hype beast fucking Supreme jeans.
I am loving your low effort, reflexive contempt for young people. That's what this podcast mostly delivers. Every week we talk a little bit about how much we don't like young people.
Yeah, freaking TikTok. What? Get out of there. Go outside.
This is the way to grow.
He was on Mount Fuji.
Yeah, screw you, young people.
You're
interested in politics? Fuck off.
Go more outside.
Yeah.
He had to get rescued.
Twice! Almost died.
It's not outside.
He's
enough
not
for me.
allowed to go outside anymore because he's only got TikTok now. That's his way to get outside.
You know what, Meg? You said TikTok. I'm going to give you the point. He went back to get his phone.
Oh.
This guy literally, he had to be airlifted off of Mount Fuji once, realized he left his phone back there, and went a second time.
Oh, you know what? Those things are going to be expensive with the tariffs, though. Like,
Fair.
respect to that.
Yeah.
Respect to that, yeah.
No, good point.
Sure.
Good point. He was right to do it.
Well, hold on. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. And our last headline. Neighbors demand action after Seattle's Denny Blaine Park is overtaken by...
The cast
blank.
of Frasier.
That's a good pull. I like that.
I hear the blues are calling on that one. Just saying.
They're overrun by tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
Delicious. Park salad.
I like to think that Denny Blaine Park was overtaken by confused David Blaine impersonators.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah, one of those look-alike contests.
They were just all trapping themselves in boxes and not able to get out.
Yeah, with questionable facial hair. Yeah.
I said Denny Blaine. And then 49 identical clones of Denny Blaine, and then you have a gun and 49 bullets, and you have to find the real Denny Blaine.
So this is the new, 100 men, one gorilla kind of conundrum.
One Denny Blaine, 49 non-Denny Blaines, one gun, 49 bullets, big magazine. Go crazy, kids.
On your TikTok.
Yeah.
Just go crazy.
They're clones.
Okay.
They're clones. They don't know what life is.
Your mind is fascinating to me.
We could do a whole podcast on it.
Yeah.
Spin-off podcast being announced. Meg's brain.
Let's do this. Denny, my co-host, Denny Blaine, clone number 32.
I think, thankfully, you were all very far off from the actual answer. Denny Blaine Park has been overtaken by aggressive masturbators.
That is Denny Blaine, unfortunately. That is him. That's sad.
Is it him or the clones?
The clones don't really understand what they're doing. Like, it's the knowledge of they're doing it, but do they
Weird
know?
consent things. I don't know how I feel about that.
They don't know. They don't understand. They just do it, you know?
Are we sure not one of them is Kelsey Grammer? He's had a rough life.
It's true. Hey, new Frasier just got canceled. He's got to fill his time somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. I didn't even know there was new Frasier. That hurts.
Oh, don't get me started on that. That's my spin-off podcast where I just rant about new Frasier. Well, okay. I think we had 1 point apiece for Claire and Meg. We're gonna call it a tie. I like that.
Nice.
The points don't matter in this one. It's whose line rules. So alphabetically, Claire, we're gonna close it out. Where can the people find you if they want to hear more about what you're up to?
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky at Clare Blackwood, and you can also find me on YouTube at It's Clare Blackwood. I make funny videos sometimes.
They
I
are
think
very,
they're funny.
they are very.
They are very, very
Thank
funny.
you.
Yes.
Meg, where can people find you if you like?
I'm online, but good luck finding me. Figure it out yourself.
Meg's off the grid.
I'm not your dad. I'm not your dad.
You're
Ask
not?
Google. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh.
And your real father is, and then
Mark Carney!
Oh, I thought you were just trying to do the Mark Carney trick of being withholding, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want her approval more.
Oh my God!
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I just like to hide online. I'm like a little Where's Waldo.
Okay.
Get on Blue Sky, find me. Good luck.
Excellent. All right. You have a mission, everybody. No, please don't do that. Aaron, where can the people find you?
So I work doing The Goose, and that's _goose_media. It's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, that sort of thing. And then my personal is Aaron H_M, if you want to find me there.
All right. Lots of funny stuff from the Goose. And I am also going to pretend that Goose Military question was a plug for your site and not just a happy accident.
Yay! I'm going to be doing a video on pipelines, so come in and subscribe.
Honk, 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 honk,
honk,
honk, honk, honk, honk.
This has been the Beaverton Weekly Report. Goodbye!
The Beaverton Weekly Report is produced by Andrew Rivamy in partnership with the From Superheroes Network. Visit FromSuperheroes.com to hear more great podcasts like this.